Okay, I'd like to do an example problem for you here on digitizing analog signals, and in particular digitized sound for this example. And so in this example, we're given CD quality sound, which means we have a sampling rate of 44.1 kilohertz and a bit depth of 16 bits. And part A asks you to calculate the data rate. The data rate is simply the product of the sampling rate and the bit depth. And in fact, we can write R equals RS times D. And it's always best to double check the units as you start something like this. The rate is bits per second. The sampling rate is samples per second. And the bit depth is bits per sample. Okay, in writing out the sample rate and the bit depth here, we don't put the unit sample. So for instance, we just say per second, which is a hertz, and here we say 16 bits instead of 16 bits per sample, because in both cases it's understood that we're talking about a per sample quantity. In any case, you can see here that samples cancel out and I do get bits per second. And so the data rate here is 16, there's 44.1 times 10 to the third times 16, which is, let's see here, times 10 to the third times 16, and so it is 705.6 kilobits per second, or 0.7056 megabits per second. Okay. For part B, calculate the number of levels. In the sampling, or in the samples, and that is simply 2 to the D, and that's 2 to the 16th, or 65,535 different possible volume levels for each sample. Okay, we can do the 2 to the 16th by saying that it's 2 to the 10th times 2 to the 6th, and 2 to the 10th is approximately 1,000, and 2 to the 6th is 64. And so we can immediately, just by looking at this value, say that it's about 64,000 by using this little trick. The fact that 2 to the 10th is just about 1,000, and breaking up the 16 into a 10 plus 6. In any case, it's best to just do it on your calculator. Part C, let's say, let's calculate the size of a 3-minute 30-second song. This will be an uncompressed size and will be the size of what would be called a WAV file, generally speaking. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say that the total time t is equal to, let's see, 180 seconds plus 30 seconds, or 210 seconds. And if we're working at 705.6 kilobits per second, we can find the total size of the file. That is the number of bits in the file. We just multiply the data rate times the time. It's going to be t times r, and it's going to be 210 seconds times 705.6 times 10 to the third bits per second. Or I'm going to take the 705,600 times 210, and it's going to give me 148.176 megabits. And if I divide that by 8, it'll give me the number of megabytes, or the number of bytes. And here I get 18.522 megabytes. Uh, 185, no, 18.522 megabytes. Notice I use a little b for bits and a big B for bytes. Okay, and so if you have, so that's for a 3-minute 30-second song, and that's for just one channel. We haven't done stereo here. Okay, so hopefully this is a reasonable example to help you get going on one or more of your homework problems, and good luck with this. Thanks.